Diana Stobo, welcome to the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast. For those who are unfamiliar with your work, could you tell us what you do?
Well, first of all, I'm sorry. Or using orgasmic like that is just so amazing. I literally things that are amazing are orgasmic. Life, take your breath away. Like that's what I'm about. I'm just going to say that. So what do I do? Who am I? I'm an every woman who basically healed herself. And during that healing process, I woke up to the connection between us and the universe. And I'm living that life every day. I built a retreat hotel. It's actually a five-star hotel in Costa Rica that focuses on wellness in every category. In fact, we have a sensual awakening program here.
Wow.
And I've written 15 books. I've kind of been a speaker and labeled an expert in gut health. I have a company called Truth Bar that's actually a gut health bar. I don't know. I do a lot. I do a lot, but it's all centered about how good we can feel.
So, what inspired you to follow this path?
I was very sick. I was very sick, and I remember thinking, this is not it. I had a girlfriend, and we used to look. I was like, is this it? Is this life? Is this it? And I thought, this is not good. I was married. I had three kids. Had a whole bunch of health issues along the way, and I just thought, is this it? This is what I was put on this planet for? I don't believe it. And so, it kind of took off from there. I mean, it's a much longer story, but I'm literally getting down to the soft stuff. And, I hate talking about myself, to be honest.
Really? Well, you got 45 minutes to do that here. So, was this
I
sickness, was
like talking about things and,
ideas? It's so interesting how things start with a personal story about, they say wounded healers, or that's the way to start our own journey. And I think a lot of the time, pain is our greatest teacher. Because I mean, when you're in these situations, you have to change unless you're a masochist. You have to try and see what's going wrong or what you can do to make it right. So in your sickness, was it something that was kind of, let's say, maintained with medication, or was it something that interrupted your daily life?
well, it's interesting because I'm a very healthy person, always have been. I grew up, my mother's a farm girl, my dad's Iranian. It was like I grew up with healthy food, really lots of produce and all that, but there's still the environment. There's still
Mm.
your thoughts. There's still things that you put on your body, things that we don't know. And they accumulate over time. And we just become accustomed to until your body just gives out. And so for me, that's kind of what happened. And I being very sensitive as a, clairvoyant and,
Ooh.
very sensitive person, I feel everything. And not only that, being a Pisces, we also feel everything. It really put me in a place where I couldn't take a lot. So I tried to have babies, and I ended up having ectopic pregnancies, which ended up shooting me up with hormones to get me through in vitro fertilization. I gained 100 pounds, and it was very toxic for me. And it took a long time to shed that. And then, of course, then there was all the residual pain that came from all this dismantling of my hormonal, flow. And I ended up in the hospital with a bleeding ulcer at the age of like 33 years old. And I thought, this is not it. I am not going to spend my life on pills and taking thyroid medication and Vioxx for pain that, by the way, end up killing people. And so I had to make a change.
Mm.
And, to your point, if you've got something in your life that's not working and you have to say it more than three times, change it.
Mm.
Because if it's not working, fix it. It has to be changed. And I think a lot of people sit in the non-fixing. They sit in the complaint and they sit in the misery or the stagnation. Not me.
Mhm. So what was the first big change you made?
Well, so I came back from the hospital after being shot up on morphine a couple times, and I thought, oh my gosh, my out of the blue, my sister called me and she goes, she had a tumor that was in her uterus that was the size of a grapefruit, and so she went on this body ecology diet, and she was going to go in for surgery, and she basically body ecology was an alkaline diet, and she um, went into surgery 2 weeks later, and it was the size of a walnut. It had shrunk, and I said, okay,
Wow.
if she can shrink her tumor that fast by eating differently, then I can change my whole life. And I did. So I started reading books. I mean, I was just married to my books. I slept with them through not only through reading, but osmosis, just absorbing all this information. And I said, okay, I wrote down no dairy, no wheat, no sugar, no meat, no caffeine, no alcohol, stamped it on my refrigerator. And for 10 days, I didn't eat any of those things. And within, 10 days, lost 10 pounds, without not dieting, just not eating those things. And my thyroid issues went away, my stomach issues went away, my sleep issues went away, my skin issues went away, everything went away. And it just got deeper and deeper. So I continued to do it until I ended up becoming a raw food chef and learning how to heal the body intensely through raw food, and ended up talking with people around the world, and wrote my first book, which was a bestseller, and then wrote 14 other ones, and really about helping people. Get Naked Fast is the name of my book.
Yeah. That's the first one, yeah? Is that the
Yeah,
first
and
one? That's a
that
great
was the
name.
best. That was the best. So what it was about it, because people are like, oh, well, you look so great. I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't about the looks. Of course, we all like to look good, but
Mhm.
it was about feeling good in my body naked. And you know what I say when you put your clothes on in the morning and you think, oh, if you're feeling icky, you put on the biggest t-shirt you can and the loosest sweatpants. And I just wanted to not have to cover myself anymore. I wanted to feel good just with my arms showing and my belly, like just whatever, walking around naked. And people would say, I want to get naked. And so my book was called Get Naked Fast. How to literally, uh, uh, strip away the foods that weigh you down and lose 10 pounds in 10 days. And then I
Wow.
started a whole program called the Naked Challenge, which was about stripping away these foods. And people do lose 10, some it's between 7 and 15 pounds of toxicity. And that kind of took me on my journey. I was, doing television. And then about 12 years ago, I bought this property here in Costa Rica, sight unseen, and started building a brick and mortar place where I can actually heal people and work with them.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
you're living there. You're living there.
I don't live here full time. No, I'm
Ah,
here a lot, but I don't live here full time.
that must be so amazing.
It is. I mean, we're number 6 in the world for destination spas
Mhm.
by Condé Nast, and we just got the Luxury Spa Edit Award, which is super, prestigious. And we're just I put my love, my heart and soul into this place. And what's really cool is wellness shifts.
Mhm.
It's so interesting how, 15 years ago, green juice and yoga was wellness.
Mhm.
You know, now we're looking at all the modalities of technology and stem cells and regenerative, and there's like so much advancement, and we want to be on top of it. And what most importantly for me is the emotional aspect. We kind of wallow in the trauma, but what if we just strip that trauma away too? And how do we do that? And there's programs and there's that. But I'm like, sometimes it's just a switch. Sometimes you flip that switch, you get rid of it, and what does that look like? What does your life look like if you're not carrying that backpack of all that pain and history that
Mhm.
caused you to be angry and miserable or depressed or whatever, or anxious, whatever it is that you're carrying around with you? And we all have our story, right? And some are harder than others to handle. But what if we just flip the switch and that all disappeared? What would you look like if you could start today and move forward? Because that's all we have. We have
Mhm.
today and forward, right? Everybody wants to carry their story like a big brick bag, or a bag full of bricks, and it's heavy. It's like I don't think we can go into the age of Aquarius with those bags of bricks anymore. I don't think we're going to ascend to the next level of what the humans on this earth are supposed to ascend to.
Mm. I love how you're tying food in with like spiritual aspects like the universe. I actually, I went vegan about 7 years ago, and as soon as I went vegan, like I started manifesting a lot. It was kind of
Yeah.
crazy. It was seemed like a spiritual thing. I haven't eaten meat for like 35 years, never eaten fish. So I was vegetarian for many years, and I started discovering vegan YouTube, and it just opened my eyes to, let's say, the dairy industry, which was like, I thought dairy was okay, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to eat that. So it's very hard to get off dairy though, because it's kind of addictive.
I think what you said is very important.
Mm,
Industry.
mm,
So we are all eating industry food,
mm,
corporate food. And so
yeah,
we don't really know what we're eating. Dairy's not bad for you.
mm,
Um, Industry dairy is,
yeah,
you know. corporate dairy, stuff. We don't know what's in it. We don't know how it's processed. We don't know what's going on. But if you lived on a farm and you were, milking a cow and you were getting your cream and churning your butter, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing
Mhm.
wrong with it at all. We're meant to eat that. And veganism works really well. I mean, I was a vegetarian most of my life, and then I was a vegan, and then I was a raw food vegan, and now I'm a eat anything that's put in front of me kind of person.
Oh, really? Have you come to a more kind of balanced space now after
Not
trying
that
different things?
I've also I think conscious eating is really important. Just
Hmm.
knowing what your body needs. And sometimes my body wants a loaf of sourdough with some some butter
Mm.
on it. Some days my body wants meat. I don't crave meat. It's funny because I'm an O blood type. I'm supposed to eat meats. I don't
Mm.
really crave meat, so it's hard for me to eat meat because I didn't eat it most of my life. But when my body's craving it, I don't say no. There's obviously a reason. There's something in that my body's telling me I need, so I eat it.
Hmm.
And if it's naughty, I don't eat junk food. I don't eat fast food. I don't eat processed foods, but I do eat from every category of the food pyramid.
What's your cheat meal then?
Oh, I would say a loaf of sourdough with, fresh churned butter, a
Wow.
little salt on it.
Well, I guess that's
Some
not too bad then in terms of what it could be, if you're looking at
Well, yeah, I mean, you
yeah.
you do get to a point in your life where, I mean, I've never craved fast food because I never ate it. So
Yeah.
I don't have that chemical reaction or that chemical need because my body has not been conditioned to chemicals. But yeah, I mean, eggs, like sometimes I crave scrambled eggs. It's silly
Mm.
things. I don't know. It's weird. Um, God, what do I crave? That's a good question. But I mostly crave juices, smoothies. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I like tart. I like lemony tart. I love probiotic dairy, yogurts, probiotic cottage cheese. Literally love that. I can live on that. But I think it's because I'm Persian. I need goat cheese and yogurt in my life. I need it. It's a necessity. We're not talking about this. It's happening.
So lots of talk lately about gut health. And also
Yeah.
I interviewed a woman who's written a book, Dr. Nicole Kane, called Panic Proof. She's talking
Mhm.
about, the link between gut health and mental health. It was quite interesting.
Well, it is actually the epicenter of all your functions.
Mm,
Your respiratory, your brain, your of course your digestion itself, all of it, your hormonal, all of it is connected to the gut. Every single one of it. If your gut is not right, there's so many things that can go wrong.
mm,
And sadly, food systems are not really made to support gut health, and so we're sort of chronically all taxed in our gut. I hope I live long enough to see all the food systems change so that we can start eating really quality food, that we can actually purchase and buy and it's available to us, that we don't have to fight for it or grow it ourselves necessarily. Um, but we are a taxed nation. I mean, when I was younger, we didn't have problems.
mm,
Now the foods are just laced with poisons and toxins and chemicals, and it's terrible. Your body
mhm.
can't process it. Your body just simply cannot process that kind of stuff. And so what it does is it ends up, kind of tweaking all the cellular structure of your body.
There's lots of talk, lots of, content online about bloating. It's been kind of normalized, but
Yeah,
uh,
normalized. I love that you said that. Isn't that
yeah,
sad?
yeah.
I can't even add to that because it's just pathetic. It's
Mhm.
pathetic, but it really falls into what I just said. We don't even know what we're eating anymore. And it's really sad. So I think that's why, going back to as basic as you can, like I order my meat now from pasture farms like in Montana, and I have them shipped in, and
Mm.
I try to get fresh seafood shipped in. Well, not frozen, it has to be frozen obviously, because I don't trust anymore. I don't know where this food's coming from. And I don't
Mm.
know what they're injecting in it. I don't know
Mm.
what they're spraying with on top of it. It's really frightening.
So have you reached a point now where you can kind of eat what you like? You don't have to worry about weight anymore.
Uh, yes and no. Yes and no. I would say I kind of was always like that after I, got myself on it wasn't about how much, it was really about eating good nutritional food. Your body doesn't
Mm.
gain weight, doesn't hold. But then I went through menopause,
Mm.
and it was a whole other like that just tripped me out. And I had to also I started drinking, which I didn't drink for like 14 years. And then I started drinking when I got a divorce. And that like, oh, I didn't realize how much the drinking affected my hormones and affected
Oh, wow.
everything. And then so recently I just stopped. I'm like, just don't want it. It's too hard. It's too hard to even have, a glass of wine. It tastes good. I love it. I love the buzz, but it feels terrible.
Mm.
And it's not worth it anymore. But I mean, I'm going to be 60 next week. And yeah,
Oh my God, we'll have to take your advice. You look amazing.
I mean, I think it's just your body just gets to a point where it's like, I'm done. It's
Mm.
too much. I'm not going to say I'm not going to screw up and have a couple glasses of wine or a shot of
Mm.
tequila here and there, but generally I know that it's going to be painful afterwards. So I just
Yeah.
stopped. Your body, the cleaner it is, the more it says no to things that don't serve it. So, to your point, to your question is I can feel my I can feel my cells like swelling if I eat something that's not good for me. It
Okay.
like tingles and I'm like, ooh, that's not good. I gotta get no more. Stop. Yeah. It's
I,
interesting.
yeah, I saw one of your videos actually just from 14 years ago on YouTube. That was
Yes.
you look so
Aren't they
different now.
funny?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was in India on a houseboat and this woman comes up to me and she says, I don't want to be forward, but you look like this woman I follow on YouTube and I haven't done a video in like 10 years. And she says, is your name Diana Stobo? And I'm thinking, I haven't done a video in 10 years. Like, yes, it is. I mean, she's like, is this you? And she shows, she's like, I follow all your videos. I'm like, oh. So I laid in bed with my girlfriend who was traveling with me, and I said, "You've got to see this stuff." She's like, "What was she talking about?" I go, "I'll show you. I used to be an influencer before there were influencers, right?" And I showed her my channel, and we laughed so hard. I was like new and young and going, everything was giggly and silly, and I really enjoyed it. We lay in bed for 2 hours, like watching old videos. That was what was the name of my show? Oh God, I
What's
had
your
names.
name? I think I just looked up your name on YouTube and
I had
found.
I had a the Daily Juice. It was called the Daily
Oh,
Juice.
okay, that's a good name.
That's funny you watch that.
Yeah, it's interesting to see just the journey and how you can kind of look younger now than when you started. Yeah.
You know, I think that that's a mindset
Mm.
if you must know because I people always ask me like why do you look so young? I said because I don't believe it.
Uh,
I don't believe that I'm going to be 60. And I think that is what happens to us is we kind of have an image of what 40 looks like, what 50 looks like, and what 60 looks like. And I'm not going to lie, 50 tripped me out a little bit and I began to look old. I started, like I said, drank more, but I also kind of believed and I even called myself old. I even said, well, I'm middle aged now. And I think I think what I did is I started to turn myself into an old person. And so when COVID hit, I spent 10 months here in Costa Rica because I couldn't get back to the US. And I worked on doing Ayurveda with my doctor here. And we just, it was weird. I just kind of decided to reverse the aging process. I said, I'm done being old. I'm done being puffy. I'm done with this menopause story I'm telling myself. I'm done with it all. And I kind of took life into my own hands and said, we're going backwards now. And now that I'm turning 60, um, there is a component to the number being really large. It's
mm.
like that's a big number. Okay. Um, and so I thought, how am I gonna, rationalize this for my future? Because I'm not at the peak. I'm not going down. I still have more to peak,
Mm.
But okay, let's restructure how I want my life to look for the next 60 years. And by saying that, I suddenly realized I'm only halfway through life.
Wow.
Because if your life expectancy is 80, then your 40-year-old self is your half life. And I'm like, my mine's going to be 120. So I think I'm just hitting my half life right now. So 60 is the new 40.
Cool, love it. I think it's so important to be an example of your message when you are in this industry, you know. You know,
You
because
know,
it's like I think it's the most important thing because I mean I'll follow Sadhguru like in my spiritual stuff. He said like he had this oops, oh sorry, what the hell? Said who should you take advice from? And it was like look at someone and see if it's working for them, listen to them, and if it's not, don't.
well, imagine getting a personal trainer who's fluffy and, 40 pounds overweight. Would
Yeah.
you show up and believe that person? No, no, because they have to walk the talk, you know?
Mm.
And teaching is not about lecturing. Teaching is about um you show somebody, they want to follow you, they want to see what you're doing, and that's how you teach. It's by leading by example. You're exactly
Mm.
right. You're
Yeah.
either I said you're either a teacher or a preacher. And
Yeah.
and the preacher is there going, do this, do that, you got to do this. It's like, well, the teacher just sits there and does, and you follow and you
Mm.
learn quietly.
Yeah, because like saying it's like attracting and rather than chasing, it's like people saying, what are you doing? You know, what's your secret? And then
Yeah,
it's the way to get them to your retreats and eating your truth bars. So tell us
exactly.
about the truth bar.
Well, Truth Bar is it's a prebiotic, probiotic gut health bar. So when all those protein bars were out there and everybody was like, "Oh, I did a protein bar," I was like, you know what? No, there's enough protein bars out there, and we don't even know. There's no proof that any of that processed protein actually does anything for your body. The best way to get
Mm,
protein is meat,
mm,
eggs, and protein. Complete proteins are the way to get it directly into the bloodstream, get it to actually activate the muscle and recovery. These process things, I don't know if they actually work. I mean, we've made them work. We've said that there's a lot of protein, but is that truly happening? So I said, let's get to the epicenter of what's really ailing people. And if they want to lose weight, then let's start cleaning out their gut. So we have high fiber probiotics. We start cleaning out the gut. We release IBS symptoms. We get rid of leaky gut issues, clean out the colon, and become regular. And then suddenly your body starts to flow and it starts to
mm.
digest. When it starts to digest, it processes the food better. Then you start to eat whole foods, right? Because you're eating well, and your body just doesn't hold. And weight to me is it's when the lymphatic system is backed up by toxic foods that turns to mass. It's stuck, so it can't go anywhere. So it just starts to turn into these fat cells. I don't know if I believe in calories in, calories out necessarily. I think there's a component to that. Obviously, if you're sitting home eating 4,000 calories of spinach, it's going to be a little different than when you're eating 4,000 calories of beer and pizza and ice cream, right? I
Mhm.
guarantee if you eat 1,000 pounds of spinach, you're not going to get fat, but still the same calories. You
Yeah.
see? So it's really where you're getting your calories from. Um, so when your gut's clean, you don't crave because you start to create a nice microbiome into the gut and you create balance. And maybe the little critters inside of us, our little parasites, don't like that area because it's too balanced. And so they try to find something and then they die off because there's no junk to feed them. And so they end up coming out eliminated. And now your body starts to release.
So what was this process like creating a product like this?
Oh, really easy for me because
Hmm.
I know what's good for our bodies. I
Uh-huh.
know what I know the components. The hard part is, you know, regulations,
Mm.
manufacturing, FDA, all these things, and then they tweak and they turn and they mess things up over time because I honestly don't think they want us to be healthy.
Yeah.
I think they're trying everything they can to make sure that we don't get good food. And if you've got a winner, they're going to find a way to regulate it.
They look delicious. I saw on your
They
Instagram. For those
are.
who are my audience is in the US, by the way. So if for anyone who's unfamiliar with the Truth Bar, can you describe what it's like, what it has, and the
So
flavors?
it's a crisp outer shell of sugar-free dark chocolate.
Hmm.
Which actually has inulin in it. So it's already got some fiber in that. And inside is either whatever the creamy nougat is, whether it's the coconut or the coconut raspberry, the peanut butter. The peanut butter and the chocolate have protein in them. And they're decadent and they're rich and they feel like you're cheating on, like you should not be eating these, but they keep you regular. They keep things going and they help with the symptoms, and it's 12 grams of fiber, more than you can get. I mean, you need about 20, so you're getting more than half of what you need in a day. Yeah.
I just think that must be really fun, that process of like testing them out and saying yes, no, more this, more chocolate.
You'd be surprised. You
Oh
would
yeah.
be you would be surprised. Yeah, like how many iterations you go through. And then even
Yeah. And you
when,
don't even taste them anymore.
well, actually changing them again because I wanted to get some lion's mane in there for
Oh,
the brain
cool.
and I wanted to increase the fiber. And so there's like, constantly and it it's an interesting it's not a great business, honestly.
Mm.
Trying to get good food into people's hands is not a great business because again, you've got everything working against you. I hope that changes soon, but I don't know. It's exhausting. It's an exhausting. I would rather, you know, teach you how to feed yourself properly.
Mm.
This is for the every person who is looking for a quick snack, something that feels good. I mean, you don't have to pop pills anymore. You just eat
Mm.
a bar and you got all your probiotics for the day. You eat a bar, you got more than half your fiber for the day. I mean, it really kind of takes the guesswork out and it tastes like a candy bar, you know?
Mm.
So it's a quick solution for a long-term problem. Um, I hope Truth Bar takes it to the moon because I think it's helping a lot of people.
I hope it comes to Spain. So where is it available at the moment?
Um, well, in the US, we have about 2,500 stores that carry it, Amazon, truthbar.com. We just
Mm.
did a QC stint, sold out in 8 minutes. Probably do that again. So it's hard to get it into people's hands. After COVID, e-commerce became very difficult, very expensive. So you're always competing with, and sometimes that eats up any possible, money that you need to run your business. So it gets really hard.
Do
Yeah.
you have any other edible products?
Do I have any edibles? No. Edible?
No. No, like just like anything, any more food products like that you are.
Any other
What's
ones?
the truth?
No, I have supplements, but
Okay.
also, but my hotel has, I've got 3 restaurants here. You
Oh,
know, I,
wow.
I like the whole food. I like the
Yeah, it
real
must be
food.
nice to kind of like just test out those menus as well as
Not only that,
like,
create them. I create
oh,
half of them.
wow,
Yeah, yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
That's so
It is.
cool.
I love food. Food is my passion. Food,
Yeah.
food, food and art. I mean, I'm creating, I'm actually expanding right now and I'm building everything, designing it all myself. And I couldn't
Mhm.
be happier. I eat, sleep, and dream art. I
Oh.
just, my brain just explodes with ideas all the time. It's crazy. Sometimes I'm like, slow down, girl, slow down. You can't do it all in one day.
Need to meditate a lot to switch the brain off.
Exactly, exactly. Or I just have to get it done.
Mm, yeah.
Sometimes I just have to get it done. Like I'll dream a recipe and I have to do it. Otherwise, it's going to be festering in my soul. So then I make the recipe the next time. Usually the ones I dream turn out perfect the first time. The ones that I'm like not quite sure about, and they don't always turn out perfect the first time. So you get it back to the drawing board.
Have you got 3 tips for someone who wants to start their health journey and they're busy and don't really know where to start?
For food, based on
Mm,
food,
mm,
yeah. So wake up every morning to a big gigantic glass of water. If you can squeeze a lemon in it, do it. Just flush out the system before you even say hello or go to the toilet.
mm.
Okay. Um, make sure that you have at least one fresh green juice every day. Just one.
Okay.
Fresh pressed, nothing that's been bottled and stuck in a refrigerator for a week or something like that. Fresh pressed. And sleep. Get
Mm,
some sleep, minimum 8 hours. Make sure you rest because your body detoxes and heals while you're sleeping. And so
mm.
no matter what you're doing, if you're not resting, you're not healing.
Yeah, I want to lose about 5 kilos. Not sure what that is in pounds, but I think it's since the
And a
pandemic.
half.
There's
Yeah.
been like this extra layer, and I was in hospital with pneumonia and COVID, so
Oh
it was
gosh.
really it was crazy because I have private healthcare, which is not everyone has private healthcare here in Spain because the state care is quite good. But I had like Instagram friendly vegan food, So I mean, it was amazing. I had an ensuite room, and it was really nice. But I
Veganism does
remember,
veganism doesn't guarantee weight loss. That's the problem. And
yeah.
maybe that might not be working for you.
I
And
think I've never.
not
I mean, for me, I could never eat meat. It's just like I feel rejection to it. But I mean, it's been a long time, so just at the moment, what happened was I was eating twice a day only, and I could eat whatever I wanted. And then I had this COVID pneumonia. And after that, I had to kind of get stronger. So I started eating more. And then it took me a long time to get my strength back because I wasn't moving because pneumonia just really wipes you out. And then I just got to my biggest size ever, and a lot of my clothes were not fitting. I was like, oh my God. And so I've been doing, I'm whole foods, plant-based, everything's local. That's all organic. There's no pesticides. I'm eating pretty good, in season and everything, but I have like this 5 kilos needs going. Like, what can I do about it?
Well, if you've had COVID, um, just once, I
Yeah.
mean, just once. So long COVID's a real thing, and basically it just messed up your system a little bit.
Mhm.
So if you can get on a parasite cleanse,
Okay.
you might be just holding on to parasites that are holding you in this pattern. Yeah, get on a
Mm.
really strong parasite cleanse and try to do it like when you do the cleanse, whatever it is, if it's a week or two, take a break and then do it again. Because when you kill parasites, they release the babies inside, and so if you get any sickness, any sniffling or anything, that means that your parasites are kind of reacted again. So make sure as soon as you notice anything that you can do it again until you can start to kill off the offspring of the babies
Oh
because
wow.
a lot of COVID planted. I mean, we're already covered in parasites, and then you got the COVID thing, and it just planted more inside of our
Mm.
system.
Yeah, also like 3 months after the hospital, I started losing my hair. I had telogen
I
effluvium.
oh, I
This,
did too. I did too.
yeah,
COVID makes you lose your hair. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
it's shocking. So
Terrible. I
yeah,
actually
it was really bad
I
because the
actually
doctors were all saying to
did.
me,
I've got a
I
cockatoo.
was, I just lost it all. But the doctors were saying, "Oh, vegan, you're gonna have to have blood tests every 3 months." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna be a good vegan." So I just went all organic and just like started eating like the best foods ever. Because for me, it's not really about animals. Something that resonates very deeply with me. And I used to be a fussy eater as a child. I think it was to control my body because I mean, I felt very out of control in my life. But then when I discovered veganism, I discovered abundance. I could eat any vegetable. It wasn't about saying no to this. Because as a child, I would just not eat the meat on the plate. I was just like, oh no.
You
So,
know,
mm,
I began eating meat when I went through menopause.
mm,
And before then, listen, I would go out to dinner and say, "Give me all your sides." A steakhouse, just give me all your sides. I just want all the vegetables. And my favorite food is vegetables. But I noticed that my body was getting really fluffy and my muscle tone was going down. Never before. I mean, like I said, I was
mm,
vegetarian, vegan, I would say 80% of my life, 90% of my life.
mm.
But then just in the last 5 to 7 years, I had to start eating meat again. And it started when somebody did a blood test. They said it was catabolic. And I said, what does that catabolic mean? Is that catatonic? Am I catatonic? Because I seem to be talking just fine. He said, no, it's catabolic. It's when your muscle starts to eat, it's looking for protein. So your body starts to eat its own muscle.
Oh
Now,
wow.
I'm an O type, so I can
Mm,
see where that's necessary. Some A types can be vegan forever, but it doesn't work for everybody. And
mm,
so it's ideal, it's lovely, it makes sense, but at the same time, it doesn't work for everybody. So you
mm.
kind of have to flow with your body. So I don't know, find out what your blood type is and find out if that's worth. Maybe you could just start with a couple eggs a week,
Oh,
just
I don't
having
think I
that.
could do that. Because I used to be vegetarian, but right now I'm just so attached to veganism, and I would find alternatives before that. But I feel
You
that
eat spirulina and moringa.
oh, I do moringa. Yeah, I have moringa
Okay,
with my green smoothie in the morning. Yeah.
good. Yeah, those are good.
Mhm.
Moringa is really good.
What about
Yeah.
menopause? You've touched on menopause because that's a time when things get a little bit out of control. Do you have any tips?
Well, um, I like to think of menopause as the, emerging goddess syndrome. So you
Mm,
go from being a woman to a goddess, and it's a little hard because everything that you've known up until you hit menopause is what you know about being a woman. And suddenly you ascend into this new way, and it doesn't have anything to do with your looks. It doesn't have anything to do with your sexiness, or it has everything to do with your wisdom and your power. And I think a lot of women have a hard times transforming from I really relied on my ability to flirt and be appealing and be a mother and all those things. And now nobody needs me to be a mother.
mm,
My looks are fading.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say
What do
that.
I have interesting? How am I interesting to the world? And women, women have a hard time with I had a hard time with it. I mean, it was like, what's going on? I mean, everything's fluffier. I mean, it used to I just feel listen, I am a supermodel in the dark. That's all I can say.
I think you were in the light as well. You look amazing.
It's, I mean, I always that's a joke with my menopausal friends. We always go,
Oh
"Hey, we're
yeah.
supermodels in the dark.
Yeah.
Skin
How
texture,
funny.
all that's gone." But it is really about accepting this new stage of life
Mm,
and where we are. And I went kicking and screaming, not gonna lie. And
mm.
so I'm kind of in that flow right now. And as soon as you accept it, it's like the symptoms go away. It's weird.
Oh,
It's like your body is fighting against something. And really, remember, your body's not fighting. It's your mind fighting your body.
mm,
And what we do is we think that our body's reacting, but the fact is that we're just not allowing our body to do what the body's supposed to do.
mm.
So,
Do you have any tips about because you're doing many different things? Do you have any tips about productivity and organizing your time and preventing overwhelm and things like that?
no, I'm completely overwhelmed and so like, no, I'm just kidding. Um, it's I think it was the book. There was this great book about art and it said write a list every day. Um, Especially if you actually do it at night before you go to bed, because sometimes we can't sleep because we're thinking about all the things we have to do. And that's when overwhelm really kicks in. It's like, oh shit, I didn't
Mm.
get this done. Write your list, everything. And then when you get up in the morning, look at your list and check off what you don't really need to do.
Oh.
And you'll find there's only maybe one or two things on that list that really need to be done. And that will take a lot of your pressure away.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you
It
find it
was,
about scaling and outsourcing? Was that a big part of your journey as well to try and delegate
um,
and to grow?
you know, I'm in a huge expansion phase right now, which is interesting, but I think that I've let go a lot. I'm not a control freak, but I'm a perfectionist, and there's a very fine line between the two because I don't care how you get to the results. That's a control freak cares about every step of the way, but I care about the result. And so I think I just jumped right over really into this is the result I want, and then go do your thing. And
Mm.
if you screw up, it's kind of on you because I've given you every opportunity. I literally lay everything out. Like I'm teaching I'm teaching one of my yoga teachers how to teach a certain type of yoga that I brought from India to do body sculpting for the body, like reshape the body with Ayurvedic treatments and body sculpting and the class he's doing is just not right. So I'm literally up at 7 o'clock every morning teaching him yoga. And I'm writing out his plan and everything. I'm like, listen, I am giving you all the tools. So by the end of this week, you are going to have this down and it's going to be perfect. And how you get here is up to you, but you've got 7 days to perfect this class, and that's kind of like I just guide people. I focus, I compartmentalize on my focus. I go
Mm.
down to the building yesterday and they're cementing over the pool area. Well, I have a reflexology pathway river going down the pool walkway, and they cemented over it. And it was
No. It's like
at
no.
4 o'clock, they're off duty. And so it was 4:05 and I said, wait. I'm like, stop. I'm like, guys, I'm really sorry. I showed them the picture and I said,
It's
you hear that?
supposed
A howler
yeah, so the
monkey.
peacock. Wow.
No, that's not the peacock. That's a howler monkey.
Oh wow.
Or that. That's sure there's the peacock behind us. Um, I know I'm like Snow White. Mr. Bluebird's on my shoulder. Anyway, yeah, and of course they had to stay till 5 o'clock to make sure they got the pathway to do it. It's like I'm on top of everything, but I don't
Wow.
do it myself. So I delegate. Overwhelm just comes with, creativity. Honestly, it is what
Mm.
it is. I don't let it physically bother me so much. The hardest part about overwhelm, I think, is not getting the job done. It's about dealing with the people along the way.
Mm. The people you're outsourcing to, you mean?
Just dealing with people. And I think that
Mm.
I don't think you'll meet one person who has a hard job that won't say, I can get the work done. It's the people. that cause
Mm,
conflict, cause argument, cause
mm,
delays, interactions that aren't productive. And then you're like, dealing with people's tough.
mm,
So, that's probably the hardest part about any kind of, business. Uh,
mm.
for me, 100% that is.
Oh, so what was your profession before you got into into the health space?
Um, I really didn't have a profession. I was an artist.
Mm.
I was a caterer. I mean, when I got out of graduate school, I wrote,
Wow.
I know that's Lord. That's Lord John Clayton. He's the son of Tarzan, which
Love
actually
it.
is the opposite in real life. Oh, Lord, thank you. He's an albino.
Wow. Amazing.
And that's Artemis back there, his wife. Didn't expect them to join.
A couple of quick questions for you. What's the book that changed your life?
Um, A Course in Miracles.
Oh, right. Oh, I've got it, but I've started it and I haven't connected with it. Maybe it wasn't the right time. I need to.
No, I think the best thing to do is go in and read some people who have deciphered it. It's
Mm,
very hard to read.
yeah.
Um, then when you understand some of the theme going back in, it goes deeper. And
Mm,
then I've had several teachers that have fallen into my lap that taught the Course of Miracles. And it's so beautiful. So the premise of the Course in Miracles is um, when you clear your mind, the universe comes in and does it all for you. Okay.
mm.
There's this great prayer, and I think in the book it's I am Jesus, but I find that people are, triggered by that. So I say I am spirit,
Mm,
pure and innocent, all is forgiven, all is released. I am spirit, pure and innocent, all is forgiven, all is released. And all that's saying is I am connected to the universe. And everything that I feel and everything that I think is now gone. And then the universe comes in. And it's great for manifesting money. It's great for manifesting love. It's great for manifesting whatever you want. And so, when it comes to some of the work I do, I actually hear it. It's
mm.
like a sensory. I hear somebody whispering in my ear. And then I allow the universe to, oh, hello, Artemis. And then I allow actually, that's Zeus. I'm sorry. Artemis is over there.
These birds in the background for those who are listening.
I yeah.
So how would you use that for manifesting then? Just repeating it and just like as a meditation, as a
Yeah.
mantra?
I'll give you an example. When I was building this hotel, I had a woman living here who was helping through the building process. And every week, she sent me $20,000, send me that. And I was like, girl, I don't know how hard you think I'm working here, but I'm trying to keep up here. I didn't expect to spend that much money to build this, but the details really matter. And we were, picking out nice furniture and nice flooring and it just got more expensive. One day she sent me a note and she said, send me $342,000. And I said, are you fucking crazy? Are you crazy, lady? And I calmed down and I went on my walk. I'm going on my power walk. And I was like, okay, I am spirit, pureness, and all's forgiven. And I was singing it. I was like, I am pure, like just repeating and repeating and repeating. I come home after an hour of walking, singing the song, I am spirit, pure and innocent, all's forgiven, all's released. And I looked at an email and an investment I had made like 10 years earlier paid out $342,000.
Wow, I'm going to start doing that tonight.
I swear on life. And I literally
Wow.
looked up into the heavens and I said, okay, 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 I get it. I'm supposed to continue.
That's amazing. Wow.
It's true though, when you're aligned with your, true purpose, everything
Mm,
aligns. It really
mm,
does. And I think that the beauty of being older and wiser, my menopausal wiser goddess, is you actually believe it. And
mm.
because you believe it, it actually happens more often. It
Wow.
happens easily and I'm like I said, I'm building right now, and there's people here going, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "No, it's going to be great. I know it's going to be great. There's not one shadow of doubt that what we're building isn't going to be perfection."
Amazing. I'd love to check out your retreat one day or your hotel. Do you have a phrase or affirmation that you live by? Is that your phrase? The
I
I'm
have a say again. It,
Another question I ask everyone is, what is the phrase or affirmation that you live by? Is that the one from the Course of Miracles?
no, that's a prayer.
Okay.
That's my prayer. That's my help, my help prayer. Um, oh, I have so many. I have so many. Let me think really quick. Let me quick what feels good right now in the moment, because every moment is um um everything that's meant for me will come easy.
Okay. Love it. So where
Yeah.
can people find you?
Diana Stobo, Instagram.com, the retreat Costa Rica, um, Truth Bar. Those are all the channels on every channel from Instagram, Facebook, .coms.
Okay.
If you want to go to my YouTube channel to see some of my older stuff where I'm, cute and, young and silly. I was actually 48 when I started doing those.
Oh my God, that's so inspiring.
Yeah, it was only 12 years ago. I was really skinny, but I
Oh.
was raw vegan at the time.
When you started doing what exactly?
Started doing all this, all of this. I only
Okay.
started 12 years ago. Yeah, I
Oh
started at
wow.
48.
That's so inspiring.